I didn't even think we'd make it past a 6-week sneak peek, honestly. So the idea that we are wrapping up our 12th season is miraculous. I want to thank you so much for supporting our messy little show. And thank you for accepting us in the spirit.
What's going on, man? It's your boy Gotti checking in. I just want to come through and give a quick commentary review about the Wendy Williams 4-part documentary. Okay, guess they're cutting grass outside. The Wendy Williams 4-part documentary that appeared on Lifetime over the weekend. It was on Saturday, also on Sunday. And I kind of, before seeing the documentary, the things came out 2 days before about the aphasia and the dementia. And I kind of was like, I don't believe the headlines. The timing is off. I did not necessarily deny it. I just didn't believe a lot of the headlines, just with the timing of everything. Now, watching the documentary yesterday, once we got to, I believe it's part 4, her son did say when she was down in Florida, when he was taking care of her, it was induced by alcohol. So it was confirmed by the son. And once it was confirmed by family, I kind of took into consideration everything. And I kind of understand the whole purpose of this Lifetime documentary. Now, I know at the beginning it was filmed to show her comeback, but it kind of went down as a spiral, as like a downfall in a sense. But once you got to that last part of the documentary and you kind of got the family to speak out, and you was able to see a lot of the home footage that Kevin Jr. took with taking care of his mom and how she was how she was healthy and kind of gained some pounds as well. And I just want to take a moment to shout out to Kevin Jr. because I don't think nobody understands what it's like being a caretaker and to have to deal with something like that with your own mom. It's just a lot in itself. So more power to him. But it seems like he was doing a wonderful job with his mom. She was in there cooking, surrounded by family. I'm not sure where the turn happened that they felt like, he wasn't doing a good job, but she looked and appeared to be way healthy when she was in Miami. And I think the lawyer put out even a clip of that allegedly showing that she was in a better place than she was when she got back to New York. Now, they're saying that because she was down there for so long, I guess it's kind of like when we go to work and we are out sick. The job is expecting us to come back, or if we're under their medical attention or their medical teams, then they kind of want to be in control. And I think that's kind of the situation that happened here, which is why the guardianship was placed in the first place. And let Wendy tell it, her medical records and everything was exposed by Bernie Young, allegedly her ex-manager. So a lot of this seemed to have happened from the TV show. I don't know if, she was promised something, because she kept saying in the documentary as well, go past the Wendy Williams and Sherry Shepherd show. So I don't know if she was promised something by the Wendy Williams show that, once she get back in perfect health, she can come back to her show. So it could have been something where she was still maybe under a contract or legal with them and they wanted her in the state of New York. But it kind of just goes to show how the Guardian is playing a part in all of this with the freezing of the bank accounts and everything that's just going on, allegedly. So I just think that this documentary was made, and I can tell that Wendy was not able to complete the entire documentary because she was sent to a facility, but her family stepped in and was on board to expose the system of the guardianship. If these are Wendy's diagnoses, hopefully, things would turn around because, like Kevin said, it was induced by alcohol. Hopefully things can be turned around or, just not as progressive as, it was in the film, as we noticed. I just hope that everyone walks away and take away that they were trying to expose the guardianship program, and not just the guardian in particular, the guardianship program in itself, in its entirety. I think that we should take note of that on Twitter, on reports already that are coming out from radio stations and just bloggers, and everybody's still so focused on, who's feeding our alcohol, who's doing this, who's doing that, but we're not looking at the bigger scheme of things and looking at the end of that documentary. And I think the end of that documentary said enough.
I am way braver now than I was even 2 years ago. I am not scared to jump out of the window with anything. And I feel like The best horse in the race for you to bet on is yourself. Even over your mom, dad, your partner, whoever, whatever with them. You have to learn to be your own best friend at some particular point, and that takes time. And also, bet on yourself when no one else will. And never keep a job you don't like. But don't quit until you have your next one. Don't be a fool. Right? Like, don't be a fool.
We got our crystals for good luck. Where is Wendy Williams? Where's she bleed? Is she crying?
YouTube, what's the word? It's your boy Gotti back here with another video. Today, man, I want to talk about one thing in particular, and that one thing in person is Wendy Williams. This is Wendy Williams' last show, season 12 of her talk show. This is her last sign off, man. It's just playing in the background. I want to address a couple things that's been going on in the media. I know the last video that I did about Wendy was probably a year some change ago, and I basically explained to you guys how I did not want to report on any of that news until Wendy herself or a spokesperson from the family spoke out, because I do think that the media was spewing a lot of lies, and a lot of the people that Wendy had around her, including her team. All of this is alleged news on Gotti's station, and everything used in this video, it can be used under the Copyright Act of Fair Use. So any YouTube guys out there, I thank you. Now, back to what I was saying. I think it was a lot of people in her team allegedly just hearing things from her, and just, that have really tried to take her out. And I think it was a lot of things swirling. If you really follow Wendy Williams, you can kind of keep up with what was going on, even with the talk show. A couple of these last episodes of season 12, it seems as though Wendy Williams was kind of throwing us hints. If you were a frequent watcher of her show, still a sensation. She's been around for years. She's been in our home for years. She's a legend in her own right. Started out in radio, was able to transcend into TV. And, we see it all the time with our legends. They kind of just vanish and disappear. It's like, after a certain amount of time, the industry, or either, people, as we receive people, we kind of just start to throw them away. And I think Wendy Williams is one of those people that has definitely been affected by that. And when it comes to it, like I said, I think it boils down to a lot of different things. I don't think it's one key factor when it came to the takedown of Wendy Williams, but I want to go ahead and address it, because today, the thing that I have saw was her medical evaluations were done. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys just a breakdown of what it actually is, because you have Alzheimer's, and you hear dementia a lot, but there's different types. So frontotemporal dementia, also known as frontotemporal degeneration, is a progressive neurological condition that primarily affects the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain. These areas are responsible for personality, behavior, and language, which means FDT, which is frontotemporal dementia, can significantly alter a person's behavior, emotions, and ability to communicate. Unlike Alzheimer's disease, FTD often begins at a younger age, typically between 45 and 65, which that's in Wendy's bracket, and progresses through the distinct stages. Understanding these stages can help a patient and caregivers prepare for what to expect and connect with medical and patient communications experiencing similar symptoms. Okay, so according to this, there are 7 stages of frontotemporal dementia, right? Wendy Williams was diagnosed back in 2023, and then it came out later, like a year later or some change later, that she was permanently incapacitated, right? So there are 7 stages, and the thing that stood out to me was the 7th stage that was it labeled being cognitively impaired, and that's what the Guardian deemed Wendy was cognitively impaired, and that, she basically had no control over everyday life, was not able to make any decisions on her own, not able to communicate. That's what being permanently incapacitated and cognitively impaired entails. All of that. You're not able to do anything pretty much. You're totally dependent on another person. You're totally dependent on doctors, hospice, whatever the case may be in your situation, right? So news came out about that. We clearly see that that's not the case just from this documentary alone. Hearing Wendy talk on Breakfast Club and hearing Wendy on The View, if you're not a follower of Wendy and you haven't been a fan over the years, you probably were questioning, hey, why does she sound like this? Or why is she, talking in circles? Or why is she not really explaining anything? Wendy Williams has always been a very odd storyteller, just as myself. We all have our way of reporting the news. Once you're trained in media, we do certain things to avoid certain things and saying, it's just timing. Everything's about timing. And I think Wendy Williams is a very smart woman. She knows exactly what she was doing. She knew who to contact and she knew who to get in point with to get her story out. I'm sure we could have been heard from Wendy Williams, but I don't think mentally she was in a space to even come out and speak at the said time. Because you got to understand, this has been a woman who's been in the limelight since the 80s, formerly known pretty much like the 90s and 2000s until 2022 when the talk show ended. So I think that we have to be aware that this is not someone that has a career that started 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even 5 years ago. This is a woman who's seasoned in the game. So with knowing that, I think we forget that people are real people at the end of the day. I think oftentimes we forget that these celebrities and these people that we look up to are actually human. So at times we need time away. Wendy Williams went through a lot the past couple of years, and we saw that actively over television. We watched it live being televised every single day while she was actually living it. So, the time away may have been needed. We know from seeing the TMZ documentary, that's the elephant in the room. We're not going to act like she wasn't there. We understood that. But we also understood when her son, little Kev, came on. I don't call him little Kev. When her son, Kevin, came on and he said, but he go by top floor Kev. I like to be called Kev. Don't call me Kevin, so I'm going to call him Kev. So when her son, Kev, was on the TMZ interview, during his confessionals, he basically stated that, yes, I do remember the doctor saying that she had alcohol-induced dementia. So if you look up that, it fits more of Wendy's case than the aphasia, because aphasia gets worse. Why now we're moving with time and she's not declining? She progressed over time. From the TMZ documentary, she progressed. She is no way, shape, or form in the same physique that she was in the TMZ documentary, the mind state that she was in. She says she's not drinking alcohol. All of these reports came out, even about her having alcohol when she first got to the Caldery. It was her birthday. Nobody said that. They just said, oh, Wendy got drunk on the third floor and she had to get locked in her room, allegedly. Like, I just don't understand who's pointing the gun at these stories and who's feeding it to the media. So if you speed up to things like this, she got assigned a case manager. She has Joe Tacopino as her personal attorney. What is it that it's still protecting this guardianship, or what's in the clause that's having the guardian trump everything, including the individuality of Wendy Williams? She's making her own decisions. Why is it that a trial or something hasn't been done yet? Why is it so much time passing and these people still have access to this lady money? That's number one. Number two, it was said that Wendy Williams is losing about 22 to 25 million allegedly a year, somewhere in that bracket. And think about the years she's been off television and she haven't gained that income. She's paying all of these fees. She's paying to live at a place she don't want to be. It's not like it's an actual prison. She still has to pay to be there. But she's locked away, so it is a prison in a sense. What do you think this woman money is doing? It's not adding up. The value's not going up. The value's coming down. Now, fast forward, we've seen Wendy out. Her birthday just passed. She was out and about with her niece, of course. She had lunch with Suzanne. She's been hanging out with Suzanne a lot lately. If you don't know who Suzanne is, she was a producer from her daytime talk show. And, things just seemed like they were on the up, but the news have been coming in slowly but surely, I shall say. The news have been coming in, but there's still been so many questions. And I understand being close to the source, you can't jump out, especially when you're in court cases. You can't jump out the gun and just tell everything that's going on. You have to have some stuff protected so you can know what your fight will be in court against said guardian or whoever the case may be, right? But I want to dial it back just a little bit. I want to dial it back because I think this goes beyond the frontal temporal dementia and aphasia diagnosis that's being alleged in the news. I think this goes back to Wendy Williams' last season of her show. A lot of things were going on. If you were a frequent watcher of Wendy, then you would definitely understand what I'm talking about. For instance, it was a particular episode. Wendy Williams decided that she was going to go hang out with Nene Leakes and Marlo Hampton. And she didn't have any makeup. This was like a chill weekend, I believe. It was one of her off days. She wasn't from the show. She left from home. She was kind of in her Wendy trendy wear, like we see now. She's in an oversized t-shirt or a sweater or some long gown or, she loved what she called it, her penny shorts and her stockings and her tennis shoes. Like we see her dressed like this on a regular, right? So I think this was just like a normal day. She decided she wanted to go out with some friends and go shopping. We all know that Wendy Williams has Graves' disease, which affects something with the eyeballs, where it's making her have that buck look, right? And at this time, that picture, they were trying to block her from posting it. And she came onto the show and she started talking about other things and just throwing hints of how the show has a insurance policy on her and, X, Y, and Z. All of this is alleged news. And I want to play this video so you guys can see this and then tell me what you're gathering or if you're picking up what I'm putting down, because these were people that were part of her team, which goes back to something that I said in the beginning of the video. I think it was people that was around her too that helped with the demise of her, if that makes sense. So let's take a look.
My thing is that I've been asking questions about my money. And when I began asking questions about my money, suddenly Lori Schiller has got no response regarding my money. I want my money. This is not fair. And Wells Fargo has no questions and answers with regarding my money. This is not fair. And Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. This is not right. And this is not fair. And this guy named Bernie Young, I know for a fact that Bernie Young used my American Express card to hire an attorney.
All right, you see that, right?
File a petition.
So I just want to make note
against me.
Of the people that she named.
That was done with my American Express.
Notice that those people are not on her team today. Notice that those were people that came into play.
This is not fair.
After her divorce, after the loss of her
and
mom
then
and all that.
There's
This was the new team. This was post Kevin team, right? I just want to make note that
a former doctor,
these are people that had access to her money. Okay. She would come on the show and explain how Bernie Young was
medical information
pretty much her best friend
about
at that
me.
Point. She said between Bernie Young and
I never
cats,
even got.
That was pretty much the only way
it was sent over to Lori Schiller. So I haven't gotten
so
this
I
stuff.
think
I fired
I think that
the doctor.
That definitely has a play in it.
I
would like to know, and I'm not going to sit here and connect any dots or try to place anything and do any think pieces, but I would simply like to know if those two people that she named in that video, Lori Schiller and Bernie Young, have any ties with Sabrina Morrissey, the person who's now in charge of the guardianship. And then this Sabrina Morrissey person has all these complaints in court about doing this same thing, similar situations to other people. Why is it that we still have yet to get this abolished? But news just came out today. It's the news we've been semi-waiting for. We know Wendy Williams had her independent evaluation. We've seen all of these things. She's been active in the streets. She was with Breakfast Club, The View.
This is very active. I enjoyed this TMZ doc because she stood in that mirror the whole time. She stood there, had conversations for over an hour. You cannot tell me that a person with aphasia, and especially jumping down the stage 7 out of the 1 through 7 stages, that it's been alleged and put out that she has aphasia and dementia. The stage that she's at, you're telling me that she was able to stand here and have a full conversation with Harvey from TMZ, detailing and recalling specific details about certain things that were going on. You just can't tell me that. A lot of people want to know, well, why did she get into the guardianship? Well, if you know, there was a lot of misappropriating of her funds. There was a lot of things going on. So Wendy straight up said, this guardianship I thought was to protect me. And I think what we have to realize is the guardianship didn't step up until after we seen the A&E documentary. Prior to that, they were already running around town trying to do her podcast. They had her at fashion shows. Fat Joe was interviewing her when he was filling in on her show, which I think was a horrible look for her. I don't know. It was a horrible look. If you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about. Just multiple things that we saw previously that kind of led us to know something's not right. But once the TMZ documentary came out, I'm like, okay, Wendy's back. She's back for blood. Wendy's not going to put herself in any type of harm's way. You know, she's a smart woman. This may be her comeback story, just like TMZ thought, allegedly. But then again, it showed us how this woman, no access to money to do anything. No credit cards. This person was supposed to be a guardian, supposed to protect, was nowhere around during the whole filming of the show, allegedly. So why is it still important? And now, according to docs, as I stated, the medical exams have been done. They said that they wanted to do their own testing, blah, 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 which is okay. Wendy Williams went and got her own independent cognitively test first because she knew that this would come. They said it would take several months for the test to come out. This was a few months back. Now we're here in August. Reports are coming out via the People that, you know, the medical exams is here. And I'll go ahead and read it and give you guys a little bit of what's going on. All right. Wendy Williams' guardianship has been upheld after she completed a significant number of tests as part of a medical examination, according to documents obtained by People. So all of this is coming from People. Sources tell People that the medical examination determined Wendy has frontotemporal dementia, which is FTD, and aphasia as the diagnosis she first received in 2023. So they're doubling down, telling me that this woman right here has FTD. The former talk show host has been living under a legal guardianship that oversees both her finances and health since May of 2022. Wendy Williams' guardianship has been upheld after the completion of her medical exam. Legal documents obtained by the People indicate that the television personality's medical evaluation, which included a significant number of tests, both medical and neurological scans, included brain images, has been completed, and the doctors have determined an opinion about Wendy's neurological condition and diagnosis. Though the condition is not listed in the paperwork, sources tell People that Wendy has been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, FTD, and aphasia, as she was first diagnosed again in 2023. So I want to point out something here. Though the condition is not listed in the paperwork, sources tell People that Wendy has been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia as she was in 2023. I want you to remember that. In the documents, an attorney for Williams' guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, requests that the court extend the guardianship for 3 months with the end date of November 5th. So, does this mean Wendy will be free on November 5th? Because if I remember correctly, Salone did a reading on Wendy Williams and said that fourth quarter, we should be expecting something, but there's going to be a lot of things going on. If you have not seen that reading by Salone about Wendy Williams, you definitely should check it out. But let's keep reading. The attorney also notes that complications have arisen due to various parties, including counsel for certain members. So they're talking about Wendy Williams' ex, Kevin Hunter, and others, and the family have indicated their intentions to challenge both the guardianship itself So, Kevin has his issues with The Guardian. Wendy's family have their issues from the A&E documentary. The update comes 5 months after the former talk show host was removed from her assisted living facility and taken to the hospital by the New York Police Department on March 10th. So yes, that was back in March when she allegedly dropped a note out the window, and New York Police Department had to go into the coterie and bring her out to have a wellness check. The following day, Wendy Williams called into Good Day New York, not Good Morning New York, Good Day New York, where she claimed that she received a mental competency test following her 2023 dementia diagnosis, and claims that she was cognitively impaired. I passed with flying colors, stated Wendy. Asking her caretaker, Gina, which was Gina came on the screen, that's the person that they got the care activist manager to be with her. Gina Monterosa, who accompanied her to the hospital to elaborate on everything. She had those tests. She's been deemed she is not incapacitated. Gina told the show, I think it's great news and it's public. And everybody knows that Wendy is not incapacitated. Okay, this is someone with case management that oversees situations like this all the time. Don't you think if it was true that she's been re-diagnosed, someone like that would have stated that? And why didn't the independent test give those same results? Y'all don't see the problem here? Since May of 2022, Wendy Williams has been living under legal guardianship that oversees both her finances and health, as y'all know. She and Morrissey have been at odds over the status of her well-being. In February of 2024, Wendy Williams' medical care team revealed that the 60-year-old television personality had been diagnosed with FTD. Then in November, and her ongoing legal battle with A&E Television's over Lifetime Where's the Wendy Williams documentary series, Morrissey claimed Wendy was cognitively impaired, permanently disabled, and legally incapacitated in court documents. After Wendy denied she was incapacitated on her February 5th appearance on The Breakfast Club, Morrissey requested a new medical evaluation and court filings hours after the radio program. So my question still stands. November 5th, is Wendy Williams going to be free? What is the status of that? If she's been re-diagnosed as cognitively impaired and, all of these things, why would you request the date of November 5th? Also, the blogs. I've seen that Neighborhood Talk and a couple other people have reported on this. And I think that we got to do a job of being consciously aware about fact-checking things. Wendy Williams' niece have been out here fighting for her. Her son, Suzanne, fans. Shout out to the person that runs the Wendy Williams archive. I think I said it already. Shout out to the person that runs the Wendy Williams Instagram, the Wendy Watchers Instagram account. All of you guys are out here fighting for her. We, the fans, are. I've shown up to the peaceful protests, like I said, in New York over at Hudson Yards, at the coterie where she's currently living at. And we just have to be conscious with the way we're reporting, because she has a family at the end of the day. This is a media personality who's no longer on television. So she can't clear up her story. She don't even have a telephone to call out. Let's get into that too. Let's get into the specifics about things. She have a telephone where she can call out, but no one can call her. Correction. I think I said that she have a phone where she can't call out. She has a phone where she can call out, but people cannot call her. So think about this. If you take a woman's phone that has all her contacts and everything in it, why, if she's incapacitated, she's able to remember these numbers and reach out to certain people and make certain calls and get certain things in motion? I just really want to know what it is behind this that they're after. Like, is it just her millions? Wendy, if that's what it's going to take to stop the lies in the media and to protect your name and your legacy, because it's really like a tarnish of all of the work you've done over the years. Is it something where you can get them the money and dispute it back with the bank? No, I'm just because Wells Fargo already BSing you. But no, I just think that it's a very tricky situation, and I think that we all should wait to report on it until we hear from direct sources. Wendy Williams have been around multiple people in this industry since all of this, including this documentary. Do you really think that people that are having hour-long conversations day in and day out would come onto the media and lie about her well-being just so she can do what? This woman has expressed she wanted to go back to work. This woman has expressed she wanted to be over her finances. This woman expressed she wants to live on her own and not in the coterie. She want to go and come as she please. She want to be able to eat what she wants. At 60 years old, you can't even go eat as you please. And you worked all your entire... Imagine working your entire life through your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s to now getting to your 60s and you can't even do anything that reflects over anything in your career. You have no contact to the outside world. You have no contact to social media. You have no contact to anything. All you have is your TV in your room and a phone that dials out. Anybody would go crazy. A lot of people are like, oh, her appearance is not the same. She's off. Yes, we understand that. We definitely understand that. But she's definitely not in the place that she was in on that documentary on A&E. I think I've been saying TMZ this whole video. She's definitely not in the place that she was on in the documentary on A&E. And I will say that again and again and again and again. This woman has been through a lot. And if we want to be completely honest, how does an addict act? If we just being completely honest. And I'm not saying she's an addict, but I know that she dealt with problems before. And all this is alleged news. So I just think that if it ain't coming from Wendy Williams or her son or her niece or her lawyer or the courts, let's just leave it alone because there's too much going on and it doesn't help the situation at all. I think that we're doing exactly what The Guardian is wanting us to do. And that's by reposting the things that they're putting out and the things that they're feeding the media. Just like it was said, the documents wasn't given, but it was told to sources. But y'all was exposing her records back in 2022, allegedly. And then the video, we ain't even got to the video with the court-appointed person came to the house and was disrespecting Wendy's son when he was simply being the spokesperson for his parent that he has every right to do. I think the situation is weird. I don't like it. Yeah, man. I think we should just wait until we hear an official statement. So I'm coming here to stand with Wendy. I stand with Wendy and Wendy watchers. Until the next video, like, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend and tell a friend. It's your boy, Kev Gotti. We are.
Anyway, I'm all cried out. I swear, I can't cry anymore.